So on today's podcast, we have Jill from Currencies Direct. So this is the first for us on the podcast, and we're going to talk about moving your money into Spain and maybe moving your money from Spain to the UK, which was an experience that we had recently as well. And it's going to be a fun one. As you can see, it's very sunny, though. It's been quite cold here in Malaga today. We started off with just 3 degrees, but now we're up at 20. So this is our podcast with Jill from Currencies Direct. Brilliant. So just before we start, if you have seen our podcast before and you haven't subscribed, we please ask you to subscribe now. There's only about 25% people who actually watch the podcast are subscribers from the statistics on YouTube. So it'd be great if you could just hit subscribe and hit the bell so you get notifications of more. If you're watching this on YouTube, well, you'll also be able to listen to it on Spotify. We're going to put the link below. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, then the link is below to see it on YouTube. So let's say hi to Jill. How you doing, Jill?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, really nice to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So we were just talking there before that we've both had shoulder and arm woes, haven't we, the last year?
Yeah, nightmare. Oh, what a recovery process, but finally recovered, but I believe you're still having a few problems.
I'm getting there, but you fill me with hope because you can get your
yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's good.
It's
not a long time, but it's good.
And that's what we were going to do this last year. And then you did your shoulder, then I did my arm, and then we had Christmas, and everybody's busy. And I think we both have busy days today. But if we don't stop and we don't do it, it will never happen.
Absolutely.
Right. Brilliant. All right. So first thing is what we were like. These kind of podcasts we're going to send out to our clients. Hopefully, people will come across it as well. But in telling them, what things, informing them things they need to do before, they come to Spain. And a lot of them will need to move their money. But tell us a bit about yourself before we get into that. How long have you been living here?
Since 2002, and I pretty much started working with Currencies Direct in 2002, September 2002. So I've been with them 22 years now. So yeah, it was a really good thing to get that professional job with a professional company, global company, and it made the move to Spain so much easier. I didn't really want to come to Spain originally. I met my husband here. And he persuaded me to move over. But once I'd actually moved over, it was a no-brainer. It was absolutely fantastic. The sunshine, everything about Spain, the social aspect, being outdoors, everything was just, it made me want to stay. And of course, the job really, really helped because I was meeting lots of clients and I got into the Spanish way of life quite quickly.
That's amazing. So I didn't realize you'd been here that long.
22 years, yeah, and it's gone really quickly.
Yeah.
They say time flies when you're having fun.
It does. I've been here since 2000, and I can't believe it. I'm going to be 25 years in April, and it's like I'm like, where on earth? Don't let me swore then.
Yeah.
In Spanish, where on earth did that go? I'm like, hang a minute, that can't be right. Over 20 years, it's like crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's been really fantastic. I mean, I never expected to enjoy it as much as I have. And I've had my family here. My son was born here, so yeah. And I got married when I moved over here. We weren't married, and I've got married since. And obviously now there's a whole circle of friends, and it's just a very social atmosphere, and it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So I've got no regrets for having moved to Spain. But yeah, as I say at the beginning, I did have my reservations.
And to get a job, because even back then was quite a boom time when you moved over in 2002. Spain was booming, but to get the kind of job that you got straight away, that's amazing. Because like now it's a temporary working place. Jobs are hard to come by here, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think the reason why it was easier for me was because I'd worked for Barclays Bank in the UK, and obviously with Currencies Direct being a finance company, they wanted somebody with quite a lot of background, and obviously they had to do background checks and everything. So yeah, I sailed through the interview, and I got the job, and it was the best thing, and I've loved it ever since.
Fabulous. And that was going to be one of my questions, was so what was your background? And so you had a finance background before you even started?
Well, actually, IT. It was IT, but working for Barclays Bank in Radbrook Hall in Knutsford in the UK.
Right.
And then I actually went working for ICI and AstraZeneca, which were pharmaceuticals companies. And then that's when I made them. Oh, and then I worked for IBM. Just before I left, I worked for IBM for a year, and they gave me the option to go back and work for them if it didn't work out in Spain. But obviously, they have that facility where you can actually go back if you want after a year or so. But I didn't. I ended up staying. But my husband was very good at making sure that people came over from the UK, because obviously people love coming over here from the UK. So yeah, that first year we had quite a lot of social interaction with people from the UK, and that helped me to settle in as well, because I did miss the UK, the people more than anything.
Yeah, of course.
And they're still visiting now, years later, and we still have visitors books where people fill in when they come and stay. And yeah, and I've got visitors books going back to the very beginning.
Wow, oh, that's amazing. Yeah, it's always tough. You know, I was saying, funny, because I had a lot yesterday, all this news. So when this goes live, it'll be old news, because I'm going to publish this in a week's time. But all this news about this 100% property thing, which we'll get to in a minute as well.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that just recently.
Talking about going to me, apart from fact, it's hearsay. Well, it's a hearsay at the moment. It's just a proposal.
Yeah.
There's nothing there yet, which is definite. But people saying to me, what's going to happen? How do you think that's going to affect people moving to Spain? I said, look, in 25 years that I've been here, okay, apart from the initial immigration law, then they changed it in 2007, made it easier, then made it harder, they've done this, they've changed this, Brexit, you name it, the things that have happened, it hasn't stopped people yet.
No, we've said the same. I mean, there's been peaks and troughs throughout our business. And as long as you're still here, as long as you've still got your offices open, you don't close the offices. We've never closed an office, even in the bad times. And people always come to you, and they always want help and assistance. And obviously, we're not financial advisors, but they do ask us things, and we put them onto the right people if we can't help with the financial advice. But in terms of the transfers and the money transfers, that's our forte, and it helps them to save a lot of money. So it's been lots of changes over the years, but we've never, it's never really affected. There have been ups and downs in the number of people that are coming over, but not to the extent that you'd think. Like you say, something big like this comes out and you think it's going to have a massive effect, but not really. COVID was the biggest one, because people couldn't move around, and nobody wanted to do anything during COVID. That's the only one that really had, a significant effect, but it didn't last long. People realized that, they've got to move on with your life.
Of course, yeah. So you guys, I was looking, so for us as well. So our business during COVID, so we hit a really crazy time in COVID, because we went from, it was COVID and Brexit at the same time.
Yeah.
So there was this period in COVID where everything shut down, the police station shut down. But to give them their dues, even the police stations, a lot of them were open when they could be open. They minimum time closed to do the residences and stuff, but then people couldn't get there because they couldn't drive through the towns to get there. And then the police were like, well, if you've got an appointment to prove that you're going to come, then people wouldn't risk it. Looking back on it, the crazy times, I can remember having crazy conversations with people who were, generally worried. And, the fact that I said, no, it's okay. We've had a verbal confirmation from the police. We'll get it in writing. And so at that time, they weren't putting anything in writing. That if you've got an appointment at the police station, that you could go through this town, and then they blocked the appointments because people were booking appointments, not turning up, just they could use the appointment booking to get about. And it was crazy. And then I suppose you guys there, I mean, it must have been incredible, because it was one day to the next, really, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, first of all, we had to close the offices and work from home. And then we had like screens in the offices. But the offices, whenever we were able to open the offices, they were always open because people were around. But when people couldn't move about, obviously the offices were closed and people worked from home. But we were still obviously dealing with people over the internet and over phone calls and etc. People were still wanting to move money. Because they had no choice, because they had properties here and they had money in the UK, or they were selling a property here and it was going back to the UK. So, or, you know, different countries, because we deal with globally, we deal with Norwegians, we deal with Swedish, Hungarian, Polish, Canadian, American, globally. So all that was, you know, still going on. The normal transactions were still going on. So, it was more just from the Spanish side, the buy and sell side, it was more difficult because people were holding off.
So I must apologise to everybody who's watching. Well, it's actually okay because it's sort of covered up my face a bit, but I've got this halo because I rushed back. I was supposed to go back to the office, but I had to come back here, and I ended up staying here. So I'll do the podcast from home, not realising that it's bright sunshine behind me, but never mind.
It's always bright sunshine in Spain. That's one of the things I love about it.
So, talking a little bit more about service. Obviously, we've been working virtually since Upsticks was a brand. We've been working with Currencies Direct, and our clients have always been very happy. And so for the last 6 years or so, and I have to say that your energy with the clients, I mean, especially, I didn't know you'd been doing it for that long, so that's even more credit to you.
Yeah.
You know, you've got so much energy with the clients. I think that's just nice. That they feel that. But
I've got a very, very, very big team behind me as well, so I don't tend to now deal directly with the clients as much. But yeah, I always used to deal with the clients, and now I deal more with the real estates and the lawyers and people like yourselves. But every now and then I have to meet clients, because we do meet them when they've got checks that we need to deliver, and we'll take them to the office with the checks, because we have check banking facilities in the offices. And yeah, it's lovely when I get face to face. That's something that I always enjoy.
Because we recently had a dealing with one of your team who helped Lara, my wife, because we had to. I think you put me. I can't remember his name now. What a lovely guy from your office, who must have been half Spanish or who spoke, because he spoke very good Spanish and English, perfect Spanish and English as well.
Could be Ignacio, could be Mauro, could be. There's lots of people who speak different languages.
You know, it was. I think it might be Mauro. I don't know, but anyway, and of course, because we don't have any. I don't have any assets in the UK. Never have to move anything over. You know, so. But then we recently had to do a transaction the other way. From euros to pounds, and I was like, "Oh, Lara, set up a Currencies Direct account," you know. And she spoke to one of your colleagues there, and he was absolutely fantastic, you know. So we had the client experience.
Yeah,
you know,
it's always good to have that, because once you've used it once, you realise how flexible it is to use it again for lots and lots of different purposes.
Yeah, and it wasn't. There was a double transaction actually, and one of our family members had to send something back this way, and we encouraged them to use Currencies Direct. They didn't, and it was like 2 weeks. There was a block, huge fees, and I was like, you know, it's and that's when it really comes to light. Well, having basically a middleman, what you guys do, which it really helps.
It's like insurance on a transfer, because we're there to make sure that transfer goes through in the time frame that it needs to go through, and we've got tracking facilities so that you don't get where one transfer has been sent and then the bank this end said no, it's not here, the bank over there says yes, it's gone, and you've not got any of that, because we are the ones that are making sure that you know where your money is. So it makes a massive difference. It makes people feel so much more comfortable, rather than, and international transfers are renowned for it as well, because sometimes they go through main clearing banks, and you know, it can be really complicated and timely.
Yeah, sure. So many processes. So I've probably jumped ahead now. So basically, Currencies Direct, how long have you been around for now in Currencies Direct?
Currencies Direct 1996. So and so many offices. We've got about 25 in Spain, but we also have offices in different countries as well, like America, etc. 1996. I've been around since 2002. So 22 years for me, and a lot longer for the company.
Fantastic. And it's basically currency transfer in it. So it's anybody who is moving money from one country into Spain or the other way around.
Yep.
You facilitate the way to do it. And also what I'm assuming is, but what I know is a better rate than
Yes,
if you did it
absolutely.
from a bank to bank, for example.
Yeah, I mean, it's as long as there's a currency transfer involved, in other words, a change of currency. So if it's euro to euro, so we don't tend to deal with French unless they're sending money to a different country where there's currency exchange. So as long as there's currency exchange involved, then we get involved. And the reason why that is that we can't do euro to euro as such is because, or sterling to sterling, is because we don't actually charge any fees. So the only way we make our money is the same way the banks do, in the fact that we buy at a certain rate and sell at a certain rate, but we just don't take as much of what we call a margin. So therefore, our profit level is much lower. The client gets a much better deal. But, it's the same service. Effectively, we're using the banks as a broker to get the money where it needs to be, it's usually faster. There's no charges and the rate's much better.
Fantastic. And so clients who obviously, so now the scenario is, we always speak to people very early. They're going to come over at some point, but they're going to have different monetary needs. So as I say, during a client's life, they're going to start, maybe they're buying a house beforehand, maybe they need to send a deposit to a lawyer, maybe they're going to get a lump sum from a property sale, in the UK, which they're going to use once they're here to buy a property or something like that. Then after that, they'll have subsequent transfers for things like mortgages, or pensions or income and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That can all be handled as well, kind of. It's not just like you
Everything.
money.
Regular transfers for pensions, any payment anywhere in the world, really, most countries that we work with, and any currency. So once they've got an account, it's like a multi-currency account. So they can use it as many or as few times as they wish, and they can use it for various different, any requirement that they have. Most requirements are covered by, like it would be if you had a bank account. It's just that there's an exchange of currency, and you don't get that. What people don't realize is the significance of the bank charges, especially in Spain, because when you bring money into Spain and you put it in your own account, which we would do for you, but if you do it yourself from your own account in the UK to here, when it hits Spain, it has a charge. Usually they have a charge, and it's a reasonable, significant charge. And then if you sold a house or you have to send money the other way, they will charge you to send it internationally as well. Like the UK banks have a small charge to send internationally, they have a larger charge usually to send it out. So there's charges as well as the rate, and we work on both of those things and make sure that the actual yield that you get wherever you're sending the money is much higher than it would be if you were doing it through a bank.
Yeah, and it's funny you should say that, because I've recently just had this argument with the bank. As recent as this morning, I was arguing with the bank when we went to pay our residency taxes for people, because we received some transfers from clients to pay their initial fee into our bank directly. Okay. And they've obviously sent it from their bank, and our bank charged us 18 euros to receive it.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a lot more than that as well.
It's a lot more. I mean, I think it's because it was a business
Depending
account.
on the amount. The higher the amount, they usually charge more.
I think that's their minimum standard charge. And then if it was that, there'd be a percentage after 1,000 euros or something.
Correct,
like that.
yeah.
So I went to the bank and I said, okay, then fair enough. So you've charged this to me, and I'm pretty much sure whoever sent it got charged by their bank or whatever. I said, so that's a business expense, right? So I want a factura to write off, because a factura, to people who don't know, is an invoice, all right, for that charge on my account.
Yeah.
Right, to give to my gestor with all your details, to write it off as a business. I'll take it on the chin, not a problem. I'll take it on the chin. If it's going to be like that, then it is. I don't agree with it, but here you go. And they said, oh no, we can give you a receipt. I don't want a receipt. That's a business charge. In Spain, under Spanish law, it should be a invoice that I can give to my gestor, because if I give him this receipt, he's going to tell me that's not valid for the tax man to write it off as a business expense.
Yeah.
So you're charging me personally, or the business, that's got to come off of our of our bottom line, because you know, and there's that grey area there. And I said it, and I sat down with the manager who I know quite well, and I wasn't having a go at it, but I said, look, you've got to understand my position, and I can't believe that you've never been challenged on this before. And she just went, oh, it's Chris again, but what are you asking me these questions, Chris? I'm going, and I said, and I think eventually, you know, I'm going to give them that much hassle, I'll get my 18 euros back, you know, and I've got a reason to get it back because they can't produce the documentation for me to present it to Hacienda. But, you know, if you use Currencies Direct, it's saving me all that hassle.
Yeah, and we also deal with business as well. We deal with business accounts where people can send from the business accounts. And because we have in-country accounts, it's sent from Spain, which is where the charge comes in if it comes from an external source. So because we're sending it from within Spain, it doesn't get any charge.
Excellent. So, and this again, this is it. I'm looking at so I'm so obsessed with our visa and our residency clients as well. I forget that obviously you guys there's a lot of people doing business in Spain. So and they're doing business with people abroad. So our only business with people abroad is when people are paying us fees to come here. Basically, we don't have, and the service providers are paid directly by clients. So we don't really have that many transactions going that way. But then I'm assuming that there must be so many businesses here. So people who may watch this, who are looking at setting up a business, who are bringing, you know, or being paid maybe digital nomad visas, we don't do those. We have colleagues who do. And they'd be getting paid from their country of origin because they're a digital nomad. They could use it. It's not just a pension, is it? It's a wage service as well.
Yeah, it's personal clients and business clients. We deal with both. Yeah.
Fabulous. And so to get set up, it's just, we've got a link below, okay, that you can get set up and set up your client account as well. And from what I remember, it's extremely easy, isn't it? It's fill out, get some details,
really,
and you'll probably get on the phone to somebody, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you can do it online, or we can get somebody to, well, you can call our offices, or we can get somebody to call you. And it's very straightforward setting up the account. Once the account's set up, you can use it for as many things as you want. It's a very, like I say, as many currencies as you want, as many different reasons that you might need it for as you want. It's a very flexible account to have, and it just carries on for the future as long as you need it. We have
and
people
you can go and see your previous transactions and everything on there.
Oh yeah, you can see all your previous transactions. It's very transparent, and people, you know, we've got people who, for example, that when they're going to their sons in Australia, they'll use it to send the money to their son's account and then take the money out of their son's account rather than getting a tourist rate. They will get a proper commercial rate and send funds across, for example, to their families. So that they can use it when they're abroad. I mean, they also do pensions. A lot of it is buying and selling of properties, because that's where the big charges come in from the banks, and we avoid all of those. So yeah, buying and selling of properties is a big one. So yeah, there's everything. There's so many different facilities.
Wow, brilliant. And 2025, what's in store then? I suppose just a really busy year, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot happening. There's a lot of new facilities that we're setting up now. One of them is property completion solution, where if we've got a buyer registered with an account and a seller registered with an account, they can actually transfer the funds on the notary day, immediate, direct between the two accounts. And it's like an OMF transfer, but there's no charges. So again, we're avoiding all those massive charges that you get with the banks when you want to do an immediate transfer on the notary day. So that's something that we're bringing in recently. And we've got a currency card. The currency card is like a debit card that you can use like a MasterCard. And as long as you've got the funds in the account, different euro, sterling, all different currencies, you can use that MasterCard globally, anywhere where MasterCard's accepted. And we have a new thing called VIBANs, which is, so this is all new things. We're constantly listening to our clients and the people that we work with, in terms of the businesses, as to what they need, and updating our services accordingly. So the main facility is obviously transfers, avoiding charges, getting better rates, and then there's all these add-ons that we can provide as well.
So going back to the card then, so that's great. So people can load up their account really if they want to.
Yeah, they can load up. They can actually make a transfer from sterling to euro and then use the euros here, or the other way around. They could transfer euro to sterling and then use the sterling in the UK. They can use it wherever they're paying. It will come out in that currency as long as the wallet, because there's different wallets and people's accounts. They have separate wallets for euro, sterling, Swiss franc, Norwegian kroner, whatever, and they just, wherever they are, it comes out in that currency as long as the wallet is loaded with that currency.
Wow, that's amazing. So, and would that work then for, say, so say for example, I had an account and I've got my euro account, and my best mate that wins the lottery and wants to put £1,000 into my account, he could do that and I could spend it on my card.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to turn to buy more lottery tickets now.
And we've got something new called VIBANs as well, which is because most of the time the accounts that the clients hold are in Currencies Direct client account with their separate account, segregated client account in there. Yeah. But we also have a VIBAN account now, which is coming out, which allows the client to have the funds when it's transferred in their own name. So it's actually their own name, and they're allowed direct debits on that account as well. So it's more like a bank account than a currency account.
Fantastic! Wow, that's fabulous. That's really good to know. And there's another question. Sorry, you had another service that you were going to say that you're introducing after the card. I interrupted you with that one. What was that last service?
That was the VIBAN. The VIBANs.
The VIBAN.
Yeah. That's basically a bank account where there'll be direct debits allowed to go out of it, and etc. etc. So normally you'd have your account in a segregated client account, and it would go in and out of your currency account. Yeah. But this would be like a euro account, which is in your name, and you can have direct debits coming out of it. So it's just the difference being that sometimes occasionally some banks or organizations won't accept a transfer if it's coming from a third party like Currencies Direct. Right. So because the VIBAN is in their name, then it gets, most of the time it's fine. But if there's ever, it's for those instances where you need the money to come out in your name, because the account's in your name, but when it's transferred, it's shown as coming from Currencies Direct, because then it needs to be shown as the broker who's sending the money. But it can be sent out with your name on it, and that is a VIBAN, which is the new facility.
Fantastic. So, and just this is probably a really stupid question, but I've got to ask it. So, people who are sending their pensions across from the UK, let's say, to a Spanish bank and want to set something up, can they name the transactions when it goes into the Spanish bank? You can see what it is, or is it just say Currencies Direct, or could you put pension on it?
Yes, you have whoever makes the transfer or organises the transfer puts the reference on there as to what they want to have on that transfer.
You won't believe how important that is for us.
Yeah,
because it's moving forward when people are getting their visas and renewing. We have to prove the origin of the funds. Yeah. So obviously, when it's coming from a UK account and getting transferred across, if it says pension on it, it makes it a lot easier for us to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah. Okay, well that was great. Is there anything else that you need to tell us, or you're probably going to get on? I'm taking up a lot of your time. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, it's been really nice to sort of like reminisce about when I came over and how long I've been here and all of those things. And and it's been a great 22 years. And like I say, the service that we provide it does make my job a lot easier.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, it must do. If you've been in it for 22, and I think it's definitely a credit. But I know the labour market here. Trust me, more than anybody. And I've been employed, and I've been an employer, and run my own business, and it's like I know it is tough. So for any business to stick around, always be there, and to be in that business for over 2 decades, that just speaks for itself.
Yeah, and constantly updating as well, which is great. Yeah. Otherwise, it would become stagnant. But we're constantly bringing in new facilities, etc. And that's what our clients like. They like the fact that we listen to them and we do things based on what they need and what they want.
Yeah, no, you've got a great team there, and I take it that you've not got any plans then to leave. Then you're going to be here for the next 22. Then, yeah.
Not sure it'd be another 22, but yeah.
I do another 32. This Mediterranean food, sunshine.
I look younger than I am. Trust me.
You must do. You must do. You must do. No, I'm sure you'll be here. I don't think any of us are going anywhere soon, are we? And that was the last thing. Did you see the news? We spoke about it earlier on about this whole 100% tax on properties and stuff like that.
I saw it on one of my WhatsApp groups, and it's very, very new. It's the first time I've seen it, and now it seems to be going everywhere. I've seen it 3 or 4 times now. So not 100% of what's going on, but I sort of get the gist that it's going to be difficult for people who aren't resident here.
Well, yeah, that's what they're saying. I mean, I personally think, as you said earlier on, there's been dips and troughs and businesses move on. I don't, if it actually even happens.
Yeah.
I mean, the news have definitely picked up on one small segment
Yeah.
of the whole of the plan to help stabilize the housing market here in Spain.
Yeah.
And I think what will happen with it is, and you've probably seen this more than anything, especially after Brexit, with the visas coming and everything, people will just adjust their plans accordingly. So
That's
they're going to have the
what they do.
finances there.
That's exactly what they do.
Yeah, they'll just adjust, won't they, accordingly? Maybe bring the money to Spain early, get the residency early, then buy rent before buying to get residency to avoid the tax. And holiday homeowners, the same is going to affect them. But I think that people will just, if it does come in, worst case scenario, that people will just bring it into their plans and adjust.
Yeah, that's it. People are very flexible, and they look at all the different options. And of course, there'll be specialists that will be working in that area that will then advise people how to do it in the best way, like yourselves.
Yeah, no, we will too. And that's it. Well, we better go before, because you can't see me now. But anyway, I don't care. It's going on Spotify, and I'm happy that we finally got to do this, because we spoke about it last year. Yeah. And I'm glad that your shoulder's better, and it looks like you're going to be having a great 2025 and cracking into it. And I'm looking forward to it. I think this year is going to be a really good year for people moving to Spain, to be honest.
Absolutely. I mean, like I say, I've never had a regret since I came, and I did have regrets before I came. But no, it's a wonderful place to be. It's in so many different reasons.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've got no regrets. It's just, my regret is that I don't seem to have stopped, but it seems to have gone so fast.
Yeah, it does. It really flies. But like I say, it's, if you're enjoying yourself, that's when the time goes quicker, and that's a good sign.
It is. It really is. Oh, look, thanks, Jill. Thanks for coming on. It's much appreciated. And
you're very welcome.
We'll catch up soon. If you do want to join Currencies Direct, well, there is a link below. So click that link, and you'll get through to, you can do an online account, get through to one of Jill's lovely team over there. As I said, we had our own experience last year where Lara did it, my wife, and she said it was a brilliant service. So it's nice that we've actually been through it as well. I know a lot of our clients are already constantly using you. So yeah, thanks for everything. And hopefully we might have a bit of a summer catch up then, if you're about, and we can just see how things are going and how the markets are, and have a chat maybe in about 6 months' time.
Okay.
We'll see you later.
Brilliant. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Well, that was good, wasn't it? So that was Jill from Currencies Direct, and just talking about how do you move your money into Spain. We've got a lot more podcasts coming up. Don't forget that you can listen to this on Spotify if you are watching it on YouTube. Well, you won't be able to see a lot apart from a shadow at the moment. And if you are listening to this on Spotify, the whole podcast is on YouTube.